Welcome to the Town of Cedar Lake Unsafe Building Department meeting. Called to order today at 5:39. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Ms. Bethauer? Present. Ms. Sheehan?
Present.
Mr. Deutmeyer?
Present.
Mr. Salatas is absent. Ms. Abernathy? Present. Mr. Gatto?
Here.
Ms. Hager is present.
All right. March 15th, 2023 minutes. Can I get a motion to read the minute? Reading of the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Roll call.
Ms. Bethauer?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes. Carries 2-0. Okay, active unsafe, number 13716 Birch Street, Blanton.
Roger Blanton and I live at 16152 Wicker, Lowell. And I've been continuing work. I was just giving the building inspector an update.
Okay.
And my wife's still down, but she still has to have someone with her all the time because of her broken hip. But I take her 3 days a week to Great Lakes Orthopedic for therapy. But anyway,
She getting any better?
she's slow. The surgeon said it'd be 6 months to a year.
Okay, long recovery.
Yeah, but anyway, every chance I get, I'm over to this place. And I've got the yard and everything pretty much cleaned up, except, as he pointed out, the south side still overgrown and been cutting on that.
Okay.
And as I was saying, we're going to be getting a building permit to go ahead and do a roof, because we don't want to tear it off till we're ready to put one on.
Right.
And he's in the hospital right now with surgery. Don, the carpenter that's buying the place from me.
Okay.
So anyway, that's the update.
Okay. Tony, have you been over there, or
I haven't, he just showed me pictures.
showed you pictures?
Yeah,
It looks like there's
looking a lot
progress.
better, yeah.
Yeah.
Other thoughts?
I mean, as long as we're making progress.
Slowly but
When is
surely.
he supposed to purchase it?
Well, he's in the hospital right now. Maybe, I told him we'd try to shoot for June, end of June, middle of June, somewhere around there.
Do you two have an agreement on what you're
Well-
going to finish before he purchases, or?
I'm gonna finish cleaning it up. That was the agreement. And, I'm basically gonna help him do some of the work on the building. That's a verbal agreement between me and him. I trust him, he's a neighbor.
Yeah, no, I remember meeting him.
Yeah. Mhm. But unfortunately, he had a little mishap. He's in Chicago Hospital, University of
Well,
Chicago.
hopefully he gets better soon.
Yep. So,
Just as a reminder, since it's been a month or two since we've met, in March, we gave him a 90-day extension on the permit that he was given last year for the cleanup of the residential property for
I
interior and exterior.
I need
with
to
the report
purchase a new
come
permit?
back. And this is the 90-day mark.
Oh, right now, see?
Right, so
Okay.
whatever you do, if you're wanting to extend it, would need to be.
I'm willing to purchase a new one if I need to.
No, I think we can just extend it, right?
So we're extending what, Ashley, I'm sorry?
It was, give me 1 second, I'll look back up.
So we're at May 17th, and
Yeah.
you're thinking he's gonna purchase this in the next month? You're gonna have this cleaned up enough in the
If he
next
can
month?
get well. No, I'm gonna continue even after he purchases it for a while,
So in
till I'm
September
done cleaning it.
of last year, he was given
Yeah.
a 90-day permit that we've just done extensions on. So we can, however long you guys want to extend it, but for residential, interior and exterior cleanup.
I mean, I wasn't on in September, Tony, out of curiosity, what progress has been made since September?
That was pretty rough, so he's done quite a bit of work compared to, if you look at the report and the pictures that were on the report, he's cleaned up the inside pretty well, and the outside he's cleaned up a lot.
And the main concern now is the southeast?
So,
The south side of the house was overgrown really bad.
Yeah.
And the sheds in the back, or are you able to access those now, or?
yeah, I can get to, sheds now, finally.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm gonna tear the metal one down.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
He doesn't want that one anyway, I don't blame him.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine extending this another 30 days, well, until our next meeting at June 22nd. Hopefully that's what your neighbor can be here as well, so we can talk
Yeah.
about
I
that.
hope so.
Okay, so you're making a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to extend that permit, until, at this point, until June 22nd, our next meeting.
Yeah, and when he gets out, we're gonna get permits to.
I'll second.
To put a roof on and a soffit. That's all we wanna do.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the main concern at this
Yeah.
point would be the exterior, just
Right. Mm-hmm.
so it's not a nice door anymore.
Yeah, that's what we wanna do, we wanna make it look better. And it needs a roof on before we do its interior work, you
Yeah.
don't want any leaks.
Right.
Right, and my concern is the exterior
Yeah,
at this
exactly.
point.
It's starting to look pretty good.
But,
Okay. A roll call?
Ms. Sessor?
yes,
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes. 2-0, we will see you at the next meeting, okay? Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Number 2, 9320 West 142nd Avenue, Midland Trust Company, as custodian at Theo Pamela Broadway. Is she online?
She is not online. She called the utility billing department sometime last week. I can't remember the exact date. One of the girls came and talked to me and claimed she was closing on the property on the 15th. I have no documents supporting this, and Brian checked earlier, he couldn't find anything on it, and GIS still shows it in her name, but that could just be depending on how
Paperwork.
long county gets to catch up the paperwork.
I'm guessing if she had closed on it, she would at least be on this call to let us know she had closed.
I had her an Zoom invitation sent to her.
Her absence lets me know that the property did not close, and probably is not closing, which doesn't surprise me. So what at this point?
It's been a little while since we handled this one. I don't know if we did title on it, so we'd have to go back and look. So if you're gonna make a motion to proceed, it would be to direct us to order title work, and when, if we get it, we'll bring a specimen order demolition to the next meeting. And we can move forward, and obviously if the property's changed hands in the meantime, our title search should pick that up and we'll notify the new owner.
So we need to make a motion to proceed with title work and then
And then next
a
month,
permit.
we can address demolition.
Yeah, so once the title's back, I would just bring a specimen demo order with me to the next meeting. If that's something we're gonna proceed with, then, you know, we would offer that to you guys, and if you wanna enter it, then move forward that path.
Okay, I mean, that's the motion I would make at this point.
I will second that. Roll call?
Ms. Sessor?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes. Carries 2-0, thank you. Next in order, we have 13505 Dewey Street, Bowman. Good evening.
Hello, Darren Bowman, 10,001 West 113th Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana.
So have we made progress?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Where are we at?
So, I just made one copy.
Okay.
We can
I took those pictures yesterday, but by the end of today, the final windows will be put in.
Oh, yeah.
The entire house will be wrapped.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had to wait 9 weeks for windows.
I'm not surprised, yeah. No, it looks great.
Your intention still is to stay here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, kudos to you. That's amazing progress.
Yeah,
Everything's been
that's great.
resheeted on the outside.
At this point, it's like pretty well all new.
Siding will be finished probably by the end,
I mean,
in
does
the
it
next
need to
week.
stay on the unsafe, or can it move over to just building permit and,
That's up to you guys. I mean, if it's an active permit for the rest of the house, then,
Do you
Well, I
feel
was
comfortable
told
with
at
us
the last
moving it over
meeting-
to you?
yeah, that's fine. I've been past there a few times, he's been working on it, and he's making progress.
I mean, the question is, Tony, have you been out there to confirm that it's no longer would meet the definition of an unsafe building?
It's not technically, it is not, able to be lived in, but there's a lot of remodels that are not able to be lived in during their.
Sure.
During their.
But is the structure itself and the condition it's in, is it
Oh, it's
safe?
Yeah.
I mean, is it in risk of falling in or any of
not a
the,
nuisance, no.
the obvious things
No,
that
no.
used to be there?
No, and I don't believe it's a nuisance anymore either.
And if that's the case, and it's, no longer deemed unsafe, then certainly that'd be something that'd be within Tony's jurisdiction and outside of yours.
I mean, that being said, if you're okay, I'd like to make a motion and move this off of our, board and just put it in your department.
And I guess the only question I have is, was there any timeframes that were put on Mr. Bowman's permit?
It was a 60-day permit that by technicality expired in April, but because we could not have our April meeting, I told Mr. Bowman to continue working until our May. So if you do make any motion, if we could just have it extended to the typical year building permit timeline.
That'd be my suggestion as well, just so then it goes over to building department, Tony can keep in contact with Mr. Bowman and they can handle it.
Yeah, so that's a year from when he applied or a year from April?
It would have been a year from when he picked it up, so it would go to April or February 28th of 2024.
Mr. Bowman, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I'm fine
You
with
can be
that.
done by February?
I hope so. I'm hoping to be done by winter at least, yeah.
Okay, that'd be my motion, to go ahead and move this away from our board move to the building department.
I will second that. Roll call.
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes. Motion carries 2-0. Thank you, Mr. Bowman, and
Thank you.
you'll
Thank you.
deal with the building department.
So, do I just come to town and get a new permit? Because the one hanging in the window now is expired.
Yeah,
So
I'll
at
let
least
the
I need a
girls
new-
know tomorrow and
Oh,
have
sorry.
them fill out a new building permit placard for you and just come pick it up to hang in the window.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
John.
All right, next, we have 7308 West 188th Place, Parrot.
He is online on Zoom.
Okay. Hello?
Hi, this is Joe, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Better. I talked to Ashley, I unfortunately, right after the meeting that I had with you guys, I guess it was in February, I had to have emergency surgery days after that, so I couldn't travel up and do the things I had hoped. But I have applied for the permit to remove the garage, and my health is better to where I can come up, so I plan on coming up this coming weekend. And as much as possible to remove the garage, as I said I would. So I'm just asking for an extension. Once the permit's done, approved, then I'll go ahead and, she said it had to be approved before I could do any work because of the issue I had.
Right. Can you also
So-
state your name and address for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry,
okay.
Joseph Parrott, 7308. What, do you want my address or the address of the property?
Your address.
4218 Garden Ridge Road, Crestwood, Kentucky, 40014.
Okay, thank you. So
You're
you're
welcome.
just looking for extension, at this point,
Well-
nothing has happened at the property since?
Well, there's been some cleanup around the property and so forth, but not, as much as I obviously wanted to get done. So it's a combination of getting the garage down, cleaning up everything, and then looking at the rest of the house as to where we're gonna go from there, as far as whether, because the roof needs to be redone and different things, so whether
That's pretty
I'm
bad.
just not sure on that part, but I gotta get the garage removed because it looks terrible.
Oh, yeah, the garage is bad, there's a lot that needs to be removed, it looks like.
Yeah, right, exactly. So-
Heather, you're going.
I don't know right now.
So for this one, because he just submitted the permit, Saturday, whatever motion you make, if you're wanting a time limit put on that permit, we would need that time limit. And I will need to touch bases with you, Joe, because there's a couple of items that are missing on that permit that we need filled out.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, I knew, well, the email kicked back and said you were out, so I didn't wanna, obviously bother anybody, but whatever you need, I'll touch base with you tomorrow if you'd like.
That's fine.
So Joe, your timeline is what at this point?
Well, I mean, I'd like to get the 60 days like we talked about before, because I really haven't been able to do anything like I had hoped, because obviously my health was most important, so. Now that I'd rather, I was really worried, so, for what it's worth, I hate to make the excuses, but that's the reality.
So you're asking for an additional 60 days?
Yes, I am.
And what progress will you make in the next 60 days?
The garage will be removed for sure, and then what I said, the cleanup portion of it, whatever looks bad to the, sightlines, and then we'll look at, again, what we're gonna do with the home at that point, based on, communication with contractors and different things, and their opinions and so forth.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd make a motion to extend this for 30 days. I don't feel comfortable with 60 days at this point, but I would make a motion to extend it for 30 days.
Well, since I don't have a permit though, what am I supposed to,
Well, it sounds like Ashley's working on that for you, but you also what are you missing from him?
The construction value's not filled in. There's a couple of other items that need to be filled in on the permit, and I can touch base with him on that one tomorrow before I can get it over to Tony for review and approval.
So this is a new permit, we're just
It is
putting
a-
a time limit on
It
it
is
for
a
now.
new permit for the demolition of the garage.
yeah,
Was this not started 60 days ago?
60 days ago, you gave him an extension to allow him time to come up, view the property, determine what he was gonna be doing, get a permit submitted, and then.
Which he just did,
Incomplete.
right.
I just couldn't do it, I had the surgery, so I apologize.
I mean, my motion stands.
Okay.
I would extend for 30 days.
I will second that.
Permit for 30 days as well?
Correct.
And then appear at the next meeting. Roll call?
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes. Carries 2-0, so you get a 30-day permit as of now, and we'd like to see you at the next meeting via Zoom or however. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have 13013 9th Street, Kubiak Properties.
Hello,
Hello.
Tim Kubiak, 9080 West 129th Place, Cedar Lake.
Okay.
I did get a permit to demolish this property and clean it up, and it will be done before the next meeting. It'll be done this month sometime, probably a couple weeks, but
Okay.
within the month, so it'll be gone.
I see it, Carnival.
Yeah, on the, what motion do we need to even make on this?
Is there any specific amount of time that's put on that permit?
The permit's already been pulled. It was pulled on March 21st, and it already has the year to it.
Okay.
But you're saying it's the next month?
Yeah, it's gonna be done.
Can we just move this to an update item, or how?
I mean, I'd just defer it, and we gotta make sure, once it's down, you can have Tony
Yeah,
go and double check.
next month,
And
Tony can report that it's.
Yeah, Tony can just report it to us.
Okay, so we just defer?
Yeah, and then
For
obviously
the
if it's
next
not down the next month, then they need to come back and explain what's going on.
Okay, I'd make a motion to defer this item.
I'll second. Roll call?
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes. Carries 2-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, 11104 West 133rd Avenue, Raha. Nobody here?
I do not see him. I've had no communication, at the February meeting, if I'm remembering correctly. He said he was working on getting everything, solely in his name. He's gonna be putting out bids to contractors to get them to tear the house down, and we updated the permit he submitted to just the whole house demo. When I checked this afternoon, that permit has not been pulled as of yet. And I don't think the house is down at this time.
No.
Yeah, he was hot to trot when he was here last time.
I can see on GIS it is now solely in his name, but that's about all I have.
So what was, I mean, I remember the meeting, I remember what we told him, but what's the last, we were giving him,
Gave him 90 days to try and get a demolition permit and find contractors to demolish the property.
but you've given, he has the permit, right? Or he was issued the permit?
It's not been issued yet, to my knowledge. When I checked this afternoon, the permit was not in our system. I know we updated the permit to reflect the whole house demolition, but that's about it.
But he didn't pull it.
Do you have anything different, Tony? Or is that it?
What happened? There's a run behind me here.
You've not had the permit pulled or anybody calling you out to the property, have they?
No information on it since, right after our last meeting, he tidied up the back of the house so that it was not falling off anymore.
That shed, or the, not the shed, the porch
Right.
portion? Yeah.
And that was, I think that was part of that permit, and then he had asked that that permit be turned into the whole house demo, which we had no problem doing that, but he was looking for, he was supposed to get 3 bids from contractors, and I guess he kind of fell off the face of the earth and we haven't heard from him, so.
Well, it sounds like the hardest part of just getting it in his name was done, but he's not done,
He's not pulled the permit yet.
okay. So how do we proceed at this point?
I can tell you, to the best of my recollection on this one, the initial demolition order was entered, and he appeared then in response to that.
Okay,
So the next step would be, if it's your pleasure, I mean, hasn't been that long, the only thing that's changed is now, instead of notifying his aunt and his sister, it's just he as the owner. We could send the final order of demolition to him, and, give him until the next meeting to demo it, or maybe that will at least garner some attention of his to be here at the next meeting. If not, then, the order becomes final and we move on.
okay, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes?
I'll make a motion to, issue the final order of demolition before our next meeting on June 21st.
I'll second that. Roll call?
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Ms. Schubert?
Yes. Carries 2-0. Okay, next we have 12905 Hilltop, Krukowski, Cheever, Kathy Living Trust.
Isaac Johnson, RJ Construction, 12221 Klein Avenue.
Okay.
It's just waiting for me to get there. I have to finish up a couple jobs and then, I'll be there. Should be a day or two.
But he is working on it, foundation is
It's been
for the
being
back.
worked on
Yeah.
consistently.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how long was this permit good for?
Should be.
90
year.
days?
Oh, that was the extension. I was gonna say, my permit should be a standard year permit, right?
Well, it was a 90-day permit because it falls under the purview of the Unsafe Board, and that's what they give. So any extension would have to be approved by them tonight.
Oh, okay.
So,
But he's continuing to make progress.
Yeah, it's no different
Moving along.
than Bowman, really. I mean, he's
Not real
actively working
concerned.
on it.
I was gonna say, I think my block guy was there today.
Tony, is this something you feel comfortable with us handing back over to you, or do we need to keep it here?
Did you add courses on the foundation?
Yes, I
or-
did.
Okay, is it sitting back on the
It
foundation?
is not. I have to finish a job tomorrow, so I should be there Friday.
Okay.
Set it back down.
So hold on.
I'll just, or I can keep in contact with him and
I think
whatever you
that,
guys are comfortable with.
I think that being said, I'd rather it stay here for now.
Okay.
Whatever you.
if it's your preference, you could always extend the permit and potentially move it to an update item, if we are good with that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to bump it out another 90 days, and if we get a report from Tony in the meantime that, progress is being made and it's no longer, potentially unsafe, then you guys can,
Move it.
take action in 3 months to knock it off this list and send it back to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with
Are
that.
you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the motion I would make. I would say extend for 90 days with the agreement that if you continue to make progress,
I was
then
gonna
you.
say, can I just let him know when it's
Yeah.
sitting back down, rough
Yeah.
off of it?
And he'll check
Continue.
it off and let
Okay.
us know, and then we'll take you off our list.
Fantastic.
All
Agreeable?
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to make that motion.
I don't mind.
Okay, I will second it.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Roll call?
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Ms. Schubert?
Yes. Carries 2-0. All right. 13940.
Before you move on, Mr. Reha just walked in, so you might want to recall that one. we can address that.
Oh, okay. All right, let's go back to 11104 West 133rd Avenue. Neha?
Hi, well, guess, I was sorry, I'm 2 minutes late.
Actually, we moved the meetings to 5:30, you may not know that, but that's okay.
I had it
That's
at
fine.
6 o'clock.
No worries.
I was late too, you're okay.
I'm Andrew Reha, I live at 427 West Oakley Avenue, Lowell, Indiana.
Okay.
I'm here for 1104 West 133rd Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been, still working to get some, bids and stuff from some contractors,
Okay.
so I can get the structure removed. But I've been working, especially with the rain and stuff, but I've been working on cleaning up and moving some stuff out, and trying to take care of things.
Okay. I think, Ashley, you said he hadn't pulled a permit as of yet, though, correct?
I haven't picked it up yet.
Correct.
So you applied?
We have a permit applied for, just nothing has been picked up.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't pick it up yet. I figured I had time, because I didn't know if there's time frames on it or anything.
Did we put a time frame on that one? Do you know?
Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Have you called contractors or?
Yeah, I've spoken to like 4 or 5. And then everybody tells me, oh, I'll get you an estimate in like 2 weeks, and then I have never heard back from them. So there's a couple of them I've called repeated times to see if I can get some bids out of them. So I don't know, but I'm thinking probably either the end of this month, I may just start on the garage myself, because I think I could tackle the garage. While I'm trying to see if I can get someone to give me a bid to get the house done.
Get the house done.
So back in February, a motion had been made by Mr. Hunley and seconded by Ms. Dessar to stay the execution of the demolition order, and a 90-day deferral was given on the house. So no timeline had been given on any permit, according to the motion.
And that was, what date was that?
That was February 15th.
I mean, so here we are 3 months later with no progress.
Well, I've got the porch down and I've been cleaning stuff up. But as far as that, like, I haven't rented a machine to knock the house down myself yet, because, like I said, I've talked to 4 or 5 contractors, and they say they'll get me an estimate, and then I can't get back a hold of them to get anything, so.
Are you interested in the town taking that down?
I guess it would depend on what kind of money we're talking about.
I think,
I
what did we
would-
say, they're average around 10,000 depending?
I would,
Not an average, that's a pretty big house.
Yeah, this one's a little bit
Oh,
lower,
so
I
this
think,
one's
than
gonna be a lot
the
more.
normal.
Yeah.
on this one, I would caution on hesitating on that one,
Is
because
it block
we-
and brick?
Well, it's block and brick, and we still have 5, 6 houses still on the list to be torn down. It's still quite a hefty list of houses to be torn down.
I mean, my concern is the lack of progress though for 3 months.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure, I mean, I think I've made pretty good progress, I mean, so I guess probably not good progress in getting the house gone, but I've gotten a lot of garbage and stuff moved and, things like that we kinda need to get situated. Like I said, unfortunately, because I mean, originally I had asked, the town said they can't recommend any contractors to me, so I've just kind of been saying, hey, who tears down houses, can you give me a price? And like I said, I've talked to 4 or 5 people, but I haven't found anybody that wants to let me pay them to do anything yet.
The most we can do is we can give you a list of all licensed contractors in the town.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
are-
if you have
we
something
are
like that, that would
not
help
able to
too.
recommend.
Because I know, I think it's, I called, I talked to McAllister's, I think, here in town. You know, he said, I'll get you an estimate in a couple of weeks, I haven't heard back from him, among a few others. But yeah, I mean, anybody I can call, because like I said, I've been basically dependent on the phone book. I did try to put an RFP out.
What do you think?
I mean, there hasn't been progress in 90 days, so I don't know what a 30-day extension is gonna do at this point. If that's, yeah, I mean, the name of the game with contractors, you call 20 and you might get 1 phone call back.
Right.
So we all understand that, we've all dealt with that before, but there has to be some sort of progress here at this point. now we're 3 months in. And unfortunately, this is a huge eyesore because it's right when you pull into the town.
Right.
It's not hidden back in the subdivision where people aren't seeing it, so. What are you asking for? Let me ask you that question.
Well, right now I'm asking for, just to be able to get an estimate to find somebody that can tear the house down for me.
And how long do you think that will take you?
I'm hoping to have it by the end of the month, because like I said, I've been calling people back and trying to get somebody to give me a bid. And like I said, I know probably this month, I'm probably just gonna take the garage down myself.
That's why I thought 30, we can see if he's actually gotten the garage down and found a contractor.
All right. We can make a motion to extend this for the 30 days, which would mean that you need to come back to the meeting on June 21st with an update, hopefully better, with a plan.
And Heather, before you make that motion, we need a motion related to the prior motion.
Oh, the prior
we did
one
on the
with-
final order of demolition, so you would probably want to stay the execution of that, so you can make this new motion. So, first motion should be to stay the execution of the final order. Second motion then would be whatever you want to do with the 30-day extension.
Yeah, so my first motion would be to save the execution of the first motion. So we're removing that. And
And
if they agree to that, right?
I'll second that.
And then to extend 30 days. So, well,
So let's do a roll call on the
Roll
first
call on
motion,
the
then you can
first
make
one.
your second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Dessauer?
yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes, carries 2-0. Now we go.
My next motion would be to extend another 30 days and then have you at the meeting at June 21st.
I will second that. Roll call.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes,
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes. Carries 2-0. We'll see you June 22nd.
First.
21st.
Okay,
5:30.
correct? Okay.
5:30. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrew, reach out to me tomorrow and I'll get you over that list of registered contractors.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that, and I will pick up my building permit very soon, so, thank you.
Okay, next we have 13947 Hobart Weiss.
I talked with the attorney this afternoon, and he says they've gotten the property removed from the illegal owner. They're looking for qualified purchasers. They're in the process of obtaining the original deed from the 1930s, and they're needing a final hearing at court for July or August. Their request is an extension to September. Brian's got
Yeah, so
a different opinion on
Right.
what.
Ashley and I talked about this earlier before she got a hold of the attorney. And before we had that information, looking at the docket, the case is pending up in Civil Division 5, which is in Hammond. The only activity on the docket was the complaint was filed in December, and then about 3 weeks ago, they filed a proof of service on the defendant. They filed that on April 25th, but the guy was served in December. They haven't filed a motion for default judgment, which there's been no appearance by the defendant, so I assume they will do that, but they haven't done it. So, from what I can see in the dockets related to both the estate and to this specific cause of action, the information that Ashley has is not consistent with what's in the court's records.
Okay.
So maybe they're intending on doing something, but whatever they intend on doing hasn't been done yet. I certainly would not recommend extending it out to September. In fact, what I would
No.
suggest is you order them to appear at the next meeting. And if something's happened then they can show us. And if not, then we can figure out what the heck's going on.
Okay.
so I'm making a motion for them to appear.
Yeah, the motion would be ordering them to appear at the June 22nd meeting and deferring this matter for a month.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to defer this for 1 month, and send them an order to appear at our next meeting.
I will second that. Roll call.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes. Carries 2-0. 7100 West 128th Avenue, Cagnina.
My foot's asleep. It really is.
I believe you.
Mr. Roger Hayward, 6721 West 145th, and I'm here for Gino Cagnina on this property. He's unable to get here, he's either in traffic or just can't get over here. With the new time, I guess there was a new time set, I had to let him know. And so he's not here, I'm here.
That's fine.
okay, thank you.
So, Roger, what progress have we made?
Yeah, slight change of plans, if you will, all right? The financing fell through that was intended.
Okay.
It was going well, and then it was a Mayfair lender or something like that, and they won't allow a homeowner to do any work. And
Okay,
I said, well, Cedar Lake allows a homeowner's permit, which means they can do some work, but they will have nothing to do with it. So we had to change plans. And I've been in communication with the attorney from day one, you know, been blowing up his phone, messaging him. So, asking for some more time, if you will. The plan is to, flip-flop the houses, the 7105 and the 7109. 7105 needs less work, right, and he's gonna spring that out of his pocket, out of his money to get 7105 done, okay? And for that to happen, we had to take the floors up so Tony could come out and inspect to make sure that, nothing's sitting in the dirt and whatever has to happen, has to happen. We do have the floors up, ready for Tony to inspect. So then, after that's done, I have to rewrite the scope. I think Tony, he wants a new scope written, how the work's gonna proceed. So the floors are open for Tony, inspect, after which, we'll rewrite the scope, get the permits, and we do have a JC in place, Joe Construction. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm looking for 30 days or something if you can.
are we talking about two different properties then?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
for whatever
I'm so
reason, they're
sorry.
both not on my agenda.
So 7105 was one that was on pre-COVID and that just fell off and has not made its way back to the Unsafe board. When it was mentioned last month, it was just determined for it to follow course in the building department. So 7105 is not on the Unsafe and has nothing to do with this board at this time, just the 7109.
Does 7105 need to be on the floor?
It was and it fell off, so
Right.
apparently.
It probably needs a lot.
Yeah, as I recall, certainly pre-COVID, Mr. Cagnina was here a few times, and there were discussions about cleaning some things up, but then it just sort of disappeared.
So Roger, now what's happening is now we're, instead of him having one on our list, now we're adding another.
Okay, so they're both getting, 7105 is getting added to the list as well? Is that
Well,
what
if
you're-
it was on here, is it unsafe?
There was an old existing report from it, and just like you said, when COVID, I don't even think Cagnina was the owner at that time. I think what he's proposing is he does the work on 7105, which will be cheaper,
Yeah.
and then uses that as
Collateral,
equity or collateral
to get the
for,
other one, exactly.
right. That's their plan, which,
Okay, my only thing is, so 7105, if that's the one they're working on, should be on this list, right?
it's technically in our shared unsafe folder. There was an old report on it.
Okay,
That's one of the things that, when I cleaned out that folder, I don't know, 2 months ago, you noticed that it was actually on there
okay.
and should have been, I
Just
mean,
we-
it's down
Just put it on the
with a bunch of
agenda,
others
can we
and,
put it on the agenda so we follow that? And
Right.
then, so we are just gonna ignore 7109 for now, till you finish 7105?
Well, we don't want to ignore it, we want to make sure it's, safe, you can't get into it, keep it clean, as far as that goes.
Okay,
Unless
so-
you would want more.
What's the status of 7109 now on the exterior? Has anything changed?
Nothing has changed on the exterior that I'm aware of.
Okay, so we still have down trees and
Down trees?
I think the tree was cleaned up.
Yeah.
the tree was cleaned up,
The
okay.
interior is demoed so they could see what they had to do
Okay,
as far as structural wise. And that's where his scope of work covered all that. And then he went for the financing after they figured out the
Right.
cost, and it's all apart from there.
so, if it's going to sit for a while we're trying to work on the other property, is everything boarded up?
Yes.
Yeah,
To
it's
be
not
safe,
in danger of
all the
falling
windows and everything are
down
boarded up?
tomorrow or anything, but.
Okay. And we're gonna keep it mowed and the weeds cleaned up
Of
and all
course.
that, and the garbage?
So the pictures we have here, which you might not have in front of you, this is not what it looks like now?
That's probably, well, aside from the tree, that's probably largely what it looks like. If it's been mowed, and the trees have been taken down. As far as the condition of the siding, the roof, the windows, all that, none of that has changed.
Well, I'm not even looking at that, I'm just looking at like the bushes and grass and weeds and garbage.
There's definitely no garbage around, that's all cleaned up.
I can't verify that one. I know the tree was cleaned up.
I'll go there as soon as I'm done here tonight, and I thought everything's cleaned up there.
Okay.
So, you kind of threw a wrench right here, so.
I'm sorry.
To skip over to
I don't have the
7105,
back I needed.
if the problem was financing on 7109, you're saying
He has enough money to do 7105, it needs a lot less work.
Okay.
so his plan is to do 7105 and then hop over to
And then
7109.
refinance that to do 7109, because he owns them outright.
I mean, I would feel more comfortable at this point if I had any idea what 7105 looked like, which you probably don't know either.
We have been in it. We need to verify that it has a foundation. After we verify it has a foundation, then some work can proceed.
Do we have a permit on 7105?
No, we'll need a scope of work after they verify that there's a foundation.
Foundation,
proper
so we
foundation.
need them to come back next month, really.
Yeah,
What's our plan though? We need him to come back next month with, so we're adding 7105 at this point to
Yes.
this list?
Yeah, it would just come back on the agenda from where it
We'll
was
pull it
at
back on.
previously.
And then you will have to go out there and give us a report,
right.
and then we'll have to make some sort of a
I think it's already been
additional
done,
plan.
Dan said.
I think maybe,
Does that cover?
I think we just kind of defer till, yeah,
We're deferring, but we're adding.
but we're adding, yes.
I've made a note to add 7105 onto the list.
Okay.
And I would also suggest that as part of sort of the exterior cleanup for 7109, that we get some sort of documentation showing the exterior of the property, because that seemed to be a concern, that no one could really sort of substantiate
Yeah.
what the condition was minus the tree being gone.
Yeah,
So if you could take
Yeah.
a look or get some
Take some
pictures or
updated
something
pictures,
for
sure.
us.
Roger, for me, it's, again, I'm sure you heard me say this before in other meetings. For me, if the exterior, we understand it's under construction and it's kind of on hold, but if the exterior looks decent and everything's mowed and cut and boarded up so it's safe, you know, I think we're a little bit more flexible on the plan.
Okay?
But if it looks like garbage and now we have another one that looks like garbage,
Well, the one, 7105, doesn't look like garbage to me. I mean, I've seen a lot of garbage, but,
same.
yeah. But maybe some attention to 7109, I have to agree on that one. So I'll go over there and, you know, if we have to clean it up or any more cleanup has to be done, Tony, you know, absolutely.
I think flexibility-wise, for me, I don't want to speak for the board, but if 7109 is tight and safe and taken care of,
Mowed and cleaned all the time so that the neighbors don't have to deal with that
Okay,
while you're working on the other one.
okay.
because now we're like a year out,
Okay.
realistically.
I wish I was here in the beginning, but, you know, it's kind of thrown in the middle.
That's all right, we just gotta figure it out.
We're just making a plan,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah. Are you okay with that, though? So what we're gonna do is add 7105.
Okay,
You'll have 30 days until June 21st to come back. Tony's gonna go out there.
what was that, June what?
June 21st is our next meeting.
Since it's been a while since the last unsafe report was done for 7105, we want an updated report.
Yeah, I think
Tony's gonna go out
Tony's
there.
gonna go back, give us an updated report. At that point, hopefully, we can get some updated pictures of 7109 as well. We can drive by as well too and just make sure that's kind of tightened up.
Sure.
And then we'll make a new plan for 7105 at that point.
Thank you.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, that sounds good, but, Tony, what caused it to be in unsafe, 7105? What caused that to be in unsafe, do we know? So that I can,
That was prior to my time.
okay,
I couldn't tell you.
okay,
I think there had been multiple attempts to pull permits on it, or there was multiple times where people were caught working on it without permits.
yeah,
It changed hands a few
that's when I
times.
stepped in, when I heard you got a stop order on, I said, Gene, what are you
Right.
doing? You know, let's either go straight or count me out, you know?
Right,
Um,
right, yeah, it's just kind of been a mess for a few years, it sounds like.
Okay,
So we'll find that out when he goes and does his formal report at this point.
okay.
Whatever needs to be updated from before COVID anyway, so that's what makes the most sense to me. Is that
Yep.
okay with you?
You make that motion and.
I guess it's can you
Kind
say
of
one
a 30
motion? Is this like 8 motions? This is a lot.
Right.
So I would certainly probably, well, you should direct Tony to go out and to update the report on 7105. It's kind of a separate matter. So I would sort of separate out those two items, right? So Tony does his report, it comes back, says 7105 is unsafe, we bring it back into active, we can deal with both at the same time. And then for 7109, it would just be a simple deferral, with the directions that they clean up the exterior, come back, and, we'll discuss a plan and bring whatever evidence they have of a clean exterior next month.
Okay, all right, so I'd like to make a motion to, potentially add 7105 West 128th Avenue to the unsafe building list, pending a report from Tony. That's my first motion, correct?
Correct.
I will second that. Roll call?
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes. Carries 2-0 on 7105 West 100.
Did I need to say that that should be done in the next 30 days before our next meeting?
I think Tony's got the picture.
Okay. And then, I'd also like to make a motion to, defer 7109 West 128th Avenue to our next meeting on June 21st.
And I will second that. Roll call?
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes. Carries 2-0. All right, thank you, Roger.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Tony,
Roger.
can you just let me know when you're gonna go up next week? I'd like to meet you up there, all right?
Okay, now we're just moving to potential unsafe. 12611 Klein Avenue, Kubiak Properties.
Hello again.
Hello again.
Thank you.
This could be at 9080 West 129th Place, Cedar Lake.
I think our question is just what's happening over there.
Not a lot.
Okay.
We've got a couple potential, obviously, ideas. We had better ideas before the building kind of slammed to a screeching halt. I think keeping that front 100 feet of the grass mowed down to the foot when it gets mowed, that was a problem. We put up the no trespassing signs. I took Tony and Jason both over there. I had the window where the kids bust in bolted shut. I had the roof bolted closed. They broke through the wire now, so that's got to be replaced.
You're always going to have to
trying to keep
get
it
over
secured, and, we got obviously the roof secured so that they can't get up there and get in the building without a ladder. You could take an extension ladder and get in, but
Right.
it's been seeming to last it takes them, 12, 13 months it took to get in. Again, I wanted to clean up a little bit more around the building, but I don't know what's the best scenario, because it seems like the more inviting it is to go, the more inviting it is, so kind of just trying to keep that front cleaned up and keep the building
So at this
secure.
point, with the
So there's, like
building
I said,
slowing, you're not sure.
and again, the building is in beautiful condition as far as structurally. It's all 30-inch concrete poured walls, and you can look down a 200-foot building and it's straight as an arrow. Honestly, it could be tore down, it could be turned into something cool for a neighborhood. But
You just kind of on hold right now.
but hopefully, again, the security of it is trying. We put up solar floodlights around the outside. I had Bill Fisher out there, and that's what he recommended, and within 2 weeks, they took rocks and bricks and busted them off the building.
Yeah, there's no point.
So again, it's a kind of a crazy situation, but
Stuck.
that's what we're doing, and like I said, Tony was there. They cannot, as long as those places are secured. Last time, years ago when Sergio owned it, they actually blocked all the windows shut with concrete bricks. And all the lower windows are blocked except for this one window that I put the wire on. But as soon as they blocked up the last hole, they took sledgehammers out there and busted through the block.
Crazy.
So that's why I put the wire there, so they had a dream that hopefully someday they could make it through, which it took them quite a long time, but it was just a strategy to try to keep them from busting blocks out of somewhere else.
Right, oh my gosh, crazy.
But anyways, that's kind of where we are, so, like I said, I'm trying to, as soon as the grass gets to that 1 foot mark, we're mowing back that 100 feet and trying to keep it secured. And I'm gonna make an effort to check it more regularly, because it seems like every time you go back there, there's something, but, at the end of the day, I wanna make sure somebody's not getting up on the roof for sure, because it's a long way down. We were all up there, and it's.
I'll bet.
Is your intention to keep this property, or is it selling?
Well, it's my brother's property, So if I spoke for him, it could change on the spin of the wheel of fortune, but, at this point, I've never heard an intention of selling it, so, but I don't wanna speak for him either, but I would say that the dream is to develop it into something cool for the town. I mean,
Right,
make it a
right.
first-rate, nice place for the town with that current R1 zoning.
Well,
Nothing-
yeah,
Nothing, I
Beautiful
mean,
land.
that's the, I mean, I'm not gonna make any guarantees, but that's the dream.
that's the
That's-
dream. I
There's no intention of selling it or anything, but, if somebody came and said, I'm gonna give you $5 million for it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't wanna say,
That you wouldn't, right?
yeah, I don't wanna say no, but that's not at any means the point of it. The point is to, make it into something,
Beautiful
something
land, for
cool.
sure.
So that's the hope.
I think for myself, I just kind of wanted to see an update of what's going on with it.
And I'm gonna, like I said, I got a piece of
I think
metal
when-
from Rich last week to a big sheet of aluminum to put over that hole that doesn't have holes in it to bolt down through the roof.
Okay.
So that's over there and that'll be on here shortly and I'll get Tony pictures of it and get it, get that back closed up and hopefully it takes him another little while to get through that, which is the hope. I
Right.
do have it in the works of getting that back, because it took them, like I said, it took them a long time, they had to get a battery sawzall or get something up there to get
Sure.
through.
Oh, yeah.
But they do eventually.
They're creative, right? They eventually get there.
Yeah.
All right. Heather, your thoughts?
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I really just wanted an update to know if the property was sitting, if there was intentions for it, if it was actually safe, so kids weren't getting into the building. Sounds like he's taking care of that.
And it's ongoing battle, I mean, I think it's 15, 16-year-old kids. I mean, I thought about
Yeah,
getting a
sure.
couple deer trail cameras and mounting them where they could, but I mean.
And then what are you gonna do, chase them, they hopefully recognize them?
Yeah,
I guess
that's
you
what
know
I
where
don't
they're
know.
coming from
I don't
maybe,
know.
but I don't know that
Right.
that would give you a lot of
Definitely a
information.
unique situation, and it's not something easily,
No.
it is what it is. But it is, like I said, there is one air conditioner hole that we've seen that's kind of lower to the ground, which we're gonna move the stuff away from the building and that'll take care of that problem, but I feel that it's pretty, as long as those openings are closed up, it's very secured and safe, it's not gonna fall down. But again, it has to be kept up, it has to be kept after to make sure that the kids didn't bust through that
Sure.
thing, that's, I mean, other than that, I don't know what else I can offer.
Okay.
Are you suggesting this is removed or?
Yeah, I don't think it needs to stay on there, but unless you wanna update like 6 months or a year, just to see, I don't.
I mean, I think an
A
update,
potential unsafe, but,
I think an update eventually is probably,
right,
Worth
so what do you think for a timeline for an update?
well, I guess we don't need an update, it could just be removed and then we could just bring it back, correct?
Yeah, we can always do that if we wanted to.
All right, I'll make a motion to remove this from the unsafe items at this time.
And I will second that. Roll call?
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, I'll get that picture.
Thanks,
from Tony.
Tim, appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have West 127th Lane, Town of Cedar Lake.
So this was the property that was brought forth at the March meeting and during the public meeting. Tony does have an unsafe report, that is item number 2.
Oh, is this the property that?
Yes.
With the garage.
Yeah.
I talked with Chris earlier today, the intention is to put it on the list for demolition and we'll get it down while we can.
Okay.
There is a report in there.
All right. Well, so, I mean, you're just gonna take it down when we have time.
When we have the availability and
Right, it goes on the list with the others.
goes on the list with the others.
I guess it's town-owned and it's on the list, I don't think we really need update. I don't know, what do you think?
I could provide an update when we finally get.
When we finally remove it?
Well, as of now, it's on the list of being demoed.
We are gonna be adding it to our list of items to be demolished.
I mean, at this point, I would be fine removing it.
Yeah, I
Sounds like
would
it's
too.
back in the,
Yeah.
okay.
Might I suggest we just bump it to an update item? I mean, that's where we put all the ones that are pending demolition. If
Okay.
it has been determined to be
Oh, true, right.
unsafe, we just put it down there, and once it's down, then we can just knock it off the list.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to, move this to an update item with the understanding that this is moving to the demolition list.
I will second that motion, roll call.
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Ms. Shebit?
Yes, carries 2-0. 13941 Moore Street, sewer, I got that right?
I think so. This is a new one being introduced to the list. It's a property that I pass every day. Moore Street is right across from where we did all of our staging for the water line extension.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Is there photos in here?
There's
Oh.
not an unsafe report done on this one
Okay.
yet. Tony does have pictures. We just
I
don't
did.
have a report at this
Yeah, I
time.
go wander around out there,
It's across from where?
Is it the brick one?
It is the brick one. Moore's here.
Yeah.
Just across from where they did the staging for
I don't
the
know.
water line
They did the
extension.
Okay, so you know where we have the well house over here
Uh-huh.
on Moore, across the street, on the east side of the street?
Yeah, got it.
The big brick one?
Yep, know exactly what you're talking about now.
Okay. So I guess, Tony, we would need a report, correct?
Yep.
So probably just have Tony get a report and put it on the list once we have a report.
Yeah.
You can make that motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to, ask Tony to go out to 13941 Moore Street and give us a report, hopefully by the next meeting.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call?
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Ms. Shebit?
Yes, carries 2-0. 14617 Lee Street, Linden. Anybody here for Linden?
This is another new item on your list. This is the first time it's been put on. I believe this is one of the properties you asked Tony to take a look at.
Yeah.
Why is it familiar to me?
You know where Troy lives?
We didn't see him here before?
No. No. Did we send we haven't gotten a report or sent anything, so we,
There is a report in there, Tony.
report there, I don't know.
do we have it on our,
Yeah.
No notification.
okay. Let's see, 146.
And Tony, what I see,
Oh, I see it,
what was
okay,
your
let's
thoughts
see.
on this?
This was,
Property.
the complaint was, the concerns are the front porch. Front porch is basically falling off the house. They, not too long ago, built a deck, permitted, on the south side of the house. The porch is on the west side. So, I mean, people do actively live there and kind of care about the house, I think. The porch needs to come off or be rebuilt or something in that manner. The rest of the house is going to need some maintenance and repairs as well, or it'll fall into that condition too.
It's in poor shape. There is a family living there. Let's put it this way, aren't very good at maintaining anything. Definitely not handyman
Okay.
kind of thing, so, but the porch is like falling off.
Tony, in your opinion, since you were there, if the porch was removed, would this be removed from the unsafe list, or would it remain?
It would be removed until it
Till the rest of
continued
it.
to deteriorate and it ended up back on there again. So
Okay.
it would have to be made clear that if repairs and maintenance were not performed on the house, the rest of it is going to end up on the unsafe retention list.
Okay, the step one would be an order to appear
Yeah.
at the next meeting?
I mean, typically, if we want to move forward with the demo, there's two paths, right? Number one, you can order them to appear, and simultaneously, we would get the title work run on it. If you think you might get a positive response from the property owner, then it's probably just better to order them to appear at the next meeting. And then if they fail to appear, we don't get a positive response, then we run the title. It's
I
just
guess it's
the difference in a month.
He'll come in mad, would be my guess, but,
Great, looking forward to that. I'd like to make a motion.
okay.
I'd like to make a motion to, send notification for 14617 Lead Street for, the owners to appear at our June 21st meeting.
I will second that. Roll call?
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Ms. Shebit?
Yes. Carries 2-0. Okay, update items. 7220 West 138th Place, Leonard.
So this is the one that's just up the road. In reviewing all of the active unsafe or update unsafe reports, there was never an unsafe report made for this property. but they
Okay.
have been actively working on the property.
With a permit or without a permit?
With the permit, we,
Really, this could be removed also. I mean,
Yeah,
he just went through rough inspections, insulation inspections, he's drawing
So
one
just
out.
put it to your court and,
Right.
okay.
Do we need to make a motion for that?
No, it's already on an update item.
Okay. Thank you for that update,
So let's just
though.
remove it from the update.
As long as you're fine having that back in your plate, and also fine.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, 7120 West, 132nd Place, Rincon, formerly Pool.
we have, well, there's some good news on this one. They completed everything. They completed the restoration of the property. It was actually for sale and has a closing date of May 23rd.
It's not been not passed final inspection yet. He's had a final where it failed, and he's got a list of correction items, one of which was pretty much to regrade the yard, which I think he's been playing with the weather and the work schedule and everything else, but, once again, this one, we have a full permit for, and it could be,
Could be removed.
yes.
Okay, let's do that.
Just for my own clarification, so when this changes hands,
Get your crotch around, yep.
if it changes hands this week or next week, if the work's not done, how does that,
Then the new owner is subject to it.
okay,
Yeah.
it
I
follows.
mean, for everything that we've done, prior owners have the obligation to inform their buyers as to what's going on.
Okay, so this doesn't affect our,
I mean, if it's me, I wouldn't buy a property that doesn't have the occupancy, but it's not me, so.
okay, so we don't have anything to worry about though,
Correct, we can still pursue it if we need to.
okay, thank you.
All right, 8120 Lakeshore Drive, Shane's Bar and Grill. I think this one is stuck in the planning commission.
So they just came with their full concept plan at the beginning of this month. I would like your permission to treat this similar to what we did with Rustevsky, where I put it on that list of items pending either closings, approvals, what have you. They are working on engaging engineering, and they mentioned talking to legal individuals to potentially look at the potential of going to a PUD rezone.
Okay. Okay,
So this can stay as an update item?
If you wanted to remain on the update list, it absolutely could, or if you'd like, I could put it on the list of items that I have that are pending.
I'd like this to stay an update
Okay.
item. This is a major eyesore.
yeah. Okay, 8816 West, 141st Avenue, Bird. Pretty sure
No, nothing to report.
we're...
Turn it off right there.
Yeah.
We did nothing.
No, it looks great.
This is the last meeting, gosh, when did we meet last? I don't know.
March.
Yeah, it was in March. So, Chris and I were in court on a Friday in April. Stanley and Megan failed to appear. The only party that did appear was a representative of the bank. The bank actually tried unsuccessfully to continue the hearing because they were, as I understand it, has to do with a HUD loan, and they're trying to get the feds to offload the property from them so they could get out from under a bad loan. The court did not grant their continuance, thankfully. We moved forward with our evidence. The court ultimately heard everything from Todd and from Chris, and entered the injunction as we had requested, which gave Stanley and Megan until, I want to say, April 30th to vacate the property. May 3rd?
Yep.
I believe. We were out there, whole team of people, excavators, firefighters, police officers. Our concern was always that there could be somebody inside the house.
Right.
We made sure fire and EMS and police cleared the house first. Nobody was there. So the demolition proceeded, and actually prior to that, I had received a phone call from a social worker, I believe, at one of the facilities that Stanley was at least feigning or understanding that he was aware generally of what was going on, and so that they had to get some items out of the home. Said, that's good, you have until April 30th to do so. Apparently after the demolition occurred, Stanley called and was less than pleased with the fact that the home had been demolished. He must have called from a facility, because at least as I understand it, he's been back and forth between hospitals and care facilities. Although I also understand that he was released last Saturday, I believe, and he was going to reside in a place up in Gary with his daughter. So they've apparently found a new place to go, at least for the time being, but the
Good.
property's gone.
It looks great. I'm sure the neighbors appreciate it.
I was surprised when I was there on May 3rd that there weren't more people out there watching.
Right, Sharon?
It did tell me today that the last dumpster had finally been removed from the property, and we'll be getting him paperwork tomorrow to help me get the bill created for the demolition of the property.
And I'm glad she mentioned that, because that's the next step in the process, right? In order to sort of preserve our lien rights and our costs, what needs to happen is we need to prepare a bill of costs that is typically sent to the birds. They then have a set amount of time, about 15 days to pay it, which we know is not going to happen.
Right.
Assuming that doesn't happen, then we would file that sort of embedded in the other lawsuits, since we already have a case with the same exact people. And it's an abbreviated proceeding. Under the unsafe building law, since we got our form approved by the State Board of Accounts, the way it goes is we file the certification, essentially like a lien. They have 30 days to respond. If they don't, a judgment's entered then for the full amount. So presumably in 60 to 90-ish days, we'll have a judgment lien against the property, unless for some reason Stanley and or Megan appeared and contested the cost, which has never happened in any of these cases that we filed liens.
Right,
But
right.
it was the first time for everything.
So do you think we need to leave this on the update?
Until we have
Yeah, the actual-
the lien rights protected, I would keep
Leave
it
it.
there.
Okay, all right. 12901 Hilltop Wamberger.
It's on the list waiting for demolition.
Okay, so
Similar,
that's done.
similar to 6599 Fernwood, 14021 Windsor, 7020 West 139th, and 7109 West 146th.
Okay, and Graves?
That leaves the last legal update. Again, since it's been a little while, in the meantime, Ms. Graves' attorney, who was from Indiana Legal Aid, and you guys may remember her from
Yeah.
last year, Courtney Sweat, she has withdrawn her appearance on behalf of Sheila Graves. In accordance with our trial rules, she's required to give the current address of Ms. Graves, which is in Crestwood, Illinois. Contemporaneous, well, shortly after she did that, we filed a motion for summary judgment against Sheila Graves based upon the fact that she doesn't own the property anymore. It is in the name of Wintering LLC, who has actually filed their own lawsuit to quiet title to the property against Ms. Graves. So those two are kind of tracking. Ms. Graves' time to respond is going to be drawing to an end pretty quickly. If she does not file a response within 30 days under Trial Rule 56, she is precluded from doing so. So we would just move the court to enter a summary judgment in our favor and have that wrapped up. So maybe even by the next meeting, we'll have the Graves saga concluded.
Probably leave that like we did with the bird for now.
Yeah, I mean, then there's the issue itself of the safety of the property. I got information from Wintering LLC's attorney that some modifications have been done. I sent it off to Ashley and to Tony, and Tony, you can kind of take it from there.
There's been no building permits pulled, but they did some repairs, so we can't verify that the repairs were done.
These are the new owners?
Yeah.
What kind of repairs?
New soffit fascia roof.
Siding.
And maybe siding, which I don't recall if there were holes in the roof. I think there were at the eave line, so if they didn't repair the rafter tails that are likely rotted, or
Right.
repair rafters that were likely rotted, then they just covered it back up, so.
So at that point, they have to undo what they did so we can pull a correct permit?
Right, we'll need to at least get a look at it, get them out there and a ladder to get a look up in the soffit from the inside and see if they just kind of
Put a Band-Aid
take
on
any
it?
garbage or if they fixed it.
Okay. So we don't need to change anything with what's happening?
No, we don't, but certainly Tony's got to swing a big stick there.
Yeah.
Big enough, I guess.
He looks ready.
Sure.
All right, public comment. Anybody have any public comments? Public comment going once, public comment going twice. The meeting is adjourned at 6:48 PM. Next meeting